Yo, hello, man. We back, episode 2. Episode 2, Talks Beyond the Barbell, man. I'm so happy to see you good people today. Happy to be back. Got my co-host in here. Sarah, how you doing today? Talk to the people.
Good, I'm excited. We had almost 150 views of our very first episode, which is super exciting because that just shows that our hard work is well received, and so we're excited to continue to talk and make content for you all, and hopefully you just find this episode even more valuable than the last.
I love it, man. I love it.
Me too.
So where we starting off at today? Where are we going with things today?
I think you have topic number one.
Topic number one. Just because I've been seeing it a lot lately, not only in social media world, but just real life, having real conversations with real people and just discussing things. But the whole topic of waiting on God, is definitely a topic that I felt we needed to kind of discuss, because I think sometimes the context in which it's used can be detrimental.
Like what? How so?
So,
what ways have you been seeing it used?
So at the end of the day, just, I'm waiting on God to send me a man, or I'm waiting on God to send me a woman, or I'm waiting on God to send me the job, I'm waiting on God to put me in a perfect situation. When in reality, we have to work. So faith without work is dead. And shout out Coach Wise, because he talks about it 10 times over in a lot of his messages be clear with it. But faith without works is dead. And while we waiting on God, we need to be working towards whatever we trying to achieve or whatever goal we trying to accomplish. So sometimes I think this idea that some things supposed to just fall out the sky is ridiculous. A man not gonna fall out the sky for you. A perfect job situation ain't gonna fall out the sky for you. A perfect situation in general not just gonna fall out the sky for you. At the end of the day, you have to be working and taking steps towards those things. You have to be putting yourself out there, and God will align your steps. God will put you in the right situation, put the right people in front of you, put you on the right track of course, but you actually have to be doing things.
Right.
So you can't just be out here just sitting around waiting, talking about what God should bring me or what God gonna bring me, because that's ridiculous.
For sure.
So I think a lot of times what we've done biblically is we've turned God into somewhat of a sympathetic figure when he never was that. Never was meant to be that. And we sit and think that, we should just be sitting here waiting on things, but what if they never come? So what if that job never come? You gonna be broke? So what if God never dropped that man on your doorstep? What, you just gonna be alone for the rest? So it's just things to me where, hey, in my mind, man, I got to do things. Right. I got to go out here and seek things. And then I understand that God gonna line some things up and he gonna put some things in my favor. But I think we gotta kill this notion that waiting on God just mean, hey, let me chill out and just see what happened here. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point you might be waiting forever.
Okay. And I think too, sometimes we get in our own way. God will put things, like you said, align people in our lives, opportunities and things like that, but sometimes we don't even take advantage of them because we feel so confident in what we are doing as a person that we don't have faith that the bigger picture is always going to sort itself out, that we block our own blessings sometimes. And so I think it's one thing to have faith that God will set you up for success, but it's another to just, like you said, wait on it without action. Like, you have to be doing diligent work towards a goal and understand that with that comes struggle. Nothing is easily handed to any of us.
Not at all.
And even if it is in God's, work, that's what he wants for us and has placed in our path, that it doesn't come on a silver platter right to our doorstep ready for us to open our arms and receive. So along the way comes its own challenges that will forge us to be better people ready to receive the blessings that are waiting for us, I think.
No, I completely agree. Like I said, I just never want us to get away from the fact that, man, we have to really go out there and do the work. You know what I mean? We have to really put our best foot forward, and some of these things will align themselves for us. But to just sit back and think, oh, I'm gonna just sit back and wait here, and then something just gonna randomly run into me is just ridiculous. Now, to say that that never will happen, I'm not gonna say that. But the chances are less likely you sitting there thinking that you don't have to do anything and something just gonna fall into your lap. That notion is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So if you, but once again, just like we talk about, people try to, like I said, and I think me and you both can attest to this, ain't no perfect version of no person out here. So nobody's gonna get on here and try to pretend like they're a perfect man or woman, because that don't exist, right?
Not at all.
But I think sometimes biblically what we try to do is we try to interpret what he say in a way that we want to interpret it. So
and then, apply it as it benefits us.
So
rather than the black and white.
Exactly. so then it makes us feel more comfortable moving forward, doing what we doing, regardless whether that's real or not.
For sure.
So
I mean, we see it a lot that people validate their actions or their decisions because
all the time.
The scripture says, but is that actually what it says, or is that your interpretation of the word? And I think that people sometimes validate that because they're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to dig deep and do some self-searching in and of yourself to get to that next level. Because like you said, we don't just elevate, we don't just get to where we are or where we're headed. Like you said, we're not perfect. We each have our own growing that we're still
trying to
doing and learning as humans, as professionals, as coaches, as friends, as partners. Like there's so many opportunities, but we have to take ownership that our actions are what gets us where we want to go. God just kind of gives us the pathway to get there.
Exactly. And I just said, oh man, look, that's deep, man. And I just appreciate just how you said that and how you articulated that, because I mean, it's just real in every single way. Like we all growing, we all trying to find our way out here, and we all ultimately trying to figure this out and do the best we can each and every day to become the best people we can. And listen, man, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to have it figured out. It's okay to have some struggles or be in the process of trying to figure that out. But understand, man, just stay consistent and do the work every day. But don't sit back or come up with excuses or try to say no. At the end of the day, get out there, work, and whatever you trying to catch, whatever you trying to accomplish, just make sure that you're working towards that and you putting your best foot forward, and you're not just waiting for things to come to you on a silver platter, because the reality of it is, and like I said, my last thing with it, faith without works is dead. So if you're not doing any work, don't just be expecting things to just fall in place, because that's not realistic to think. We always told y'all we're gonna be multifaceted on here, so this dives into a different sector, right? We talking about relationships. So wait, let's
pause so I can have somewhere to put the clip.
Oh, okay. 10-4.
Yeah, because I'm gonna let them play the clip.
All right.
Okay, now you can talk. I just
There are some relationships that I've learned really do deserve a conversation before separation, before going ghost. And what I've learned is a lot of people have a difficult time handling conflict, or with that desire to not want to engage in any type of conflict or confrontation. I'm gonna go ahead and make decisions without communicating. And I've learned that there are people that have been proven, that have qualified themselves for access to us. And what ends up happening is, because we're so emotional, we make a decision from that emotional place and do damage to a relationship that really deserved a conversation. And the beautiful part about it is, by the time the conversation is over, there may not be a need for separation. There is just a need for clarity.
Confrontation, guys, over ghosting. and when is it necessary to ghost somebody, and when should you actually confront them about certain things? Because the fact of the matter is, just like the clip was speaking on, right? It is some situations where, right, a simple conversation can probably salvage a relationship. Okay, and we don't even try to take the time to do that because at the end of the day, let's be honest. For most people, confrontation is not anything they trying to do. All right, so if I conduct any type of confrontation, that's just simply what I'm doing. So we definitely entered the age of ghosting. You know, people just, they not gonna speak on certain things. They not gonna speak to you, whether they right, wrong, and different. If it's over, it's over with in most people's eyes. And so when is it necessary to ghost people, and when is it cool to confront them, and in hopes that maybe, hey, because a lot of relationships can be solved with a simple conversation, or is that correct? I don't know.
So when I listened to the clip, I took it as people who are fearful of confrontation or are not as self-aware to feel comfortable in a confrontational setting are the ones who are more inclined to ghost, rather than facing any sort of, it was based off of relationship, so any sort of relationship problem with your partner, rather than facing it head on, they're going to retreat because they are not in a place where they have that, you know, security in themselves that they can address those difficult topics, so they go missing in action, or ghost as it's called. I don't think it's appropriate to ever ghost anybody.
Sheesh.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Talk to me, because I'm trying to, hey, look, boy, it's looking funny in the light. So I'm trying to figure out, well, okay, why do you think it's never necessary to ghost people?
Because we are in our 30s.
Okay.
Why?
I'm just asking you. I'm playing devil's advocate. I want you to tell them why you feel that way.
Because we're grown.
Obama out.
Okay.
For what reason? I can't think of a feasible reason. Even if, okay, let's give it some context.
Okay, so what if you enter a situation where everything done been said that you could possibly say?
But that's not ghosting.
Okay.
Because if you've said everything you've had to say, you've put closure on that conversation.
Okay.
Whether or not that person receives the message and makes changes, like to me, and maybe I don't understand what ghosting is.
Yeah,
to me,
okay.
Ghosting is, okay, like if we're in a relationship, all of a sudden the person just goes missing.
Yes.
There's no conversation.
Okay.
There's no...
Tenfold. I mean, that's similar. That is what it is, honestly.
Right.
When in any situation, right? When you connecting, conversating,
right,
have any type of relationship, or maybe whatever interaction you have with somebody, and then it's just gone without any...
Yeah, so like for us as two single people, when you are in the meeting phase, I think sometimes people feel that they're getting ghosted because the conversation fizzles out.
Okay.
I think there's a difference between things
most
fizzling,
definitely. Yes, most definitely,
as opposed to saying, oh, we talk every single day,
and then you go,
and then tomorrow there's no conversation
contact. Okay,
at all.
I get you.
Now if it's like
texting
texting every day, the next day it's like a text. The day after that there's nothing, and then it goes 2 days when... Like, it was a gradual process that it just sort of fizzled. No one made the executive decision to say, I'm out.
Tenfold. Okay.
Like, I feel like ghosting is a very, like, people are aware that they are moving in that way. Like, they are making the executive decision that I don't want to do this, and rather than telling the person that they said something that triggers me, they have raised some red flags, rather than just being honest and saying, hey, you kind of said this and I didn't appreciate it and I just don't think this is a good fit for me. They just run the other way. Or vice versa, let's say you're in a relationship and you get into an argument, and rather than talking through that argument, people will just end it and fall off the face of the earth. Which I think for well, if you're living together, you can't really do that. But
Nah,
if you're just,
ain't no way.
but if you're just dating,
Yeah,
people can do that.
of course,
You know.
of course. So
I don't really think there's any reason to that.
okay, so
You think you ghost people?
nah, but at the end of nah, hold up, whoa, no.
You
But-
thought about it. There was a
No,
pause.
but okay, so in the context that you speaking on it in, no, it's no reason because we is grown. We in D30. So it's no reason why I'm talking to you one day and I'm just gonna, hey, look, woo, we out of here, right? Now, you brought up a very valid point though when you was talking about, okay, in the talking phase. All right, if conversations just fizzle, they fizzle. Why? Because we gotta be real. When you in the talking phase, you might not be in the talking phase with just one person, right? So wherever certain conversations lead, maybe the conversation you was having with other people, you felt were more valuable. So you felt like those conversations were worth pushing forward. Some you didn't, right? So we got to be careful when we use that word, right? And I like how you talked about that. Because that's really not ghosting. That's just our conversation fizzled out and that's kind of where it ended. And I wanted to pursue other people that maybe I thought were more compatible to me or that I wanted to pursue
do you
more.
tell people that? Or do you just stop texting first?
I mean, in that situation, I don't really see the point of telling people because to me, in that situation,
So in that
because
case,
you've
you're
been,
ghosting them.
I mean, well, yeah, if you want to say that. I mean, because
Well, I mean, if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like okay, but if you walking this earth, you done been on both sides of that. You done been talking to people before, and either you decided not to push it further, or in some cases they decided not to push it further in the talking phase, and that's okay. Yeah. I mean, I think we allowed to do that as grown people, right? You allowed to whatever you feel is more valuable to you, or the connection is more valuable to you, or maybe it aligns better with your life, you allowed to seek that out and you allowed to keep continuing to pursue that.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I got from the spiritual clip that was big for me was just because it made me think about something else. Is closure something you feel like you should be guaranteed? Because I mean, I think that's huge to talk about, right? Because in my opinion, as I grew older, I started to understand that you don't always get closure. Closure is not something that's always guaranteed to you, right? At some point in time, we have to find something within ourselves to just move forward from some situations, because you're not always going to get the closure that you're seeking, right? You're not always going to get that last conversation and we cleared the decks and everything's okay. Sometimes you leave situations in a bad place. Sometimes you leave situations in a place that you would not prefer, right? Sometimes you leave situations with a lot of hurt still within you, a lot of anger still within you, and you ultimately have to learn how to deal with that yourself and move forward. But
I think
how
it
you
depends
feel
on your
about it?
definition of closure.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of times people struggle with that because we feel, and I've been in this place too, that the other person is the one who owes us that closure.
Of course.
Whereas closure truly comes, in my opinion,
yes,
closure truly comes when you have acknowledged all of the different factors of whatever the situation is. We're talking about relationships. So you've acknowledged that you as an individual maybe had made your own flaws and caused some of the troubles or disconnects in your own relationship, but it takes two to tango, right? And you have to understand that you then have to close that chapter because it does not serve where you're heading. Exactly. And that person may not understand that. Like exactly. they may never understand it. They may not understand it right now because they are at a different place in their life. And if you were both at the same place at the same time, you wouldn't be looking for closure because it would be a successful relationship because you were aligned on so many things. And you know, I think it's taken me a long time to get to that point because there's been times that I have been in relationships and I'm just talk to me, have one more conversation. Like we just need to, I just want to know why this isn't working. But in all honesty, sometimes that person you're asking those questions to doesn't know those answers
at all.
Because they're in a place of turmoil. They're in a place where they're searching for themselves or trying to find out who they are, what they want in life. And for one reason or another, they feel it's not you, or vice versa.
Exactly.
Depending on who is initiating this conversation, right? Like, you have to get to a point. And I think for me, something that's helped me get closure in past relationships is cutting all ties. And that's for me the hardest, because especially when you truly love somebody, you don't want to let go of those special pieces that you share.
Yeah.
Like,
if you get to that space with anybody, it had to be some good within it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I do understand what you mean, where it's like, so if you have any love that was real for somebody and it get to those points, yeah, it can be super difficult to cut ties with people that you actually loved and cared for, because whether or not we want to admit it or not, it was something that was good about some of those situations.
right.
Am I saying all of it was good? Am I saying half of it was good? No. What I am saying though, what I am saying though, is it had to be elements of that relationship that you did value. You know what I mean? So now we gonna dive into our third question. Definitely one that kind of swept through and was going viral and just going crazy on all platforms on social media. And so basically it was a young man, he just in the kitchen, and playing with his kitchen set, that his mom got him. And so in playing with said kitchen set,
He was living his best life. Like,
I can't even, like, man was going in. He was doing, he thought, hey man, that man thought he was making spaghetti, chicken, I don't know what. Hey, look, he thought he was doing it up. But, and it to me, it was just a nice moment, right?
Yeah,
but,
looking at the video,
yeah.
I didn't see anything.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sitting here as a man saying that I didn't see no issue.
Because he's a young child.
I ain't see no issue with it.
That is just enjoying imaginative play. Like,
exactly.
He is literally living his best life. And if you look through some of the comments, like, some of them say, well, he's emulating what he sees in the house. So someone in his home cooks like that.
Yeah.
Someone in his home enjoys cooking in the kitchen, or the life that they bring to the family through the kitchen. And he's duplicating that behavior, which to me is a beautiful thing, that he sees his family, just enjoying that time. But then, of course, we get into one of my TED Talks is about gender roles and gender norms, and how buying your kid a play kitchen set makes your kid gay. You're gonna turn your kid gay by making them play with this toy. Like, how dare you do that to a young boy? You're gonna make him feminine. Girls should be playing with a kitchen set.
I was just about to say that, and then you just kind of cross over into the whole masculinity conversation, and it's it's a big topic. And it's
so
a topic,
as a man,
it's a topic
who potentially wants to have children someday,
yeah, it's definitely.
Would you buy your child a kitchen set if you have a little boy?
So first and foremost, just to kind of tackle it head on, right? To be honest with you, I seen nothing wrong with the clip or what was going on in the clip. Hey, if your son asks you for a kitchen set, am I gonna sit up here as a father and say, hey man, I ain't buying that?
Right.
I'm not gonna say that. And like I said, I think even in the clip, right? Because I do think we got a lot of, and I've been very candid with you about this. I do think we got a lot of masculinity issues, and I do think now being masculine and being in positive masculinity is just under attack every single day out here. So me as a man, no, it don't bother me, because I talk to you about this stuff all the time. A large issue that I do have, right, is the fact that sometimes when we growing up as men, moms do a lot of stuff for younger boys. So what do I mean by that? Everything that's done in the cooking set that they do. Washing clothes they do. This they do. Sister and mom do everything. Now I don't really know how to do anything for myself, right? So when we're younger, that's cool. But then when we grow up and you guys are looking for suitors and we don't have certain skills, then it's like, well, I gotta take care of you. Why I'm always having to do this? Why I'm always having to do that? Okay, but it started there. So that's why I always be trying to talk to women. Like, so when I seen that clip, a lot of people like, oh, not masculinity. Nah. Well, maybe mom, hey, let me show you how to do this at a young age. Let me show you how you move in here. Let me show you what you're supposed to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with a man of any age knowing how to cook? There's nothing wrong with that. So I think
know how to cook.
That's what I'm saying. So I think
because I know. I'm saying.
I
cook to survive.
So what I'm saying is, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
So I think we gotta be careful. We gotta be careful what we kind of tag as. Oh, that's gonna make somebody homosexual, or that's gonna we gotta be careful when we just kind of throwing this stuff around, because it's nothing wrong with a young man learning certain skills that he's gonna need as a grown man.
A life skill. Let's not sugarcoat.
Come on, man.
You need to be able to cook to survive.
So,
eating is necessary.
And it's okay for a man.
Eating is not gay.
And it's okay
Actions
for a man.
are not gay.
And it's okay.
Toys are not gay.
Yeah, and it's okay for a man.
Okay, let's just say how it is.
It's okay for a man to have that skill. In fact, I would employ more men to learn that skill because it's helpful in the dating process, if anything. Mm-hmm. It's an attractive quality. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I think some of this stuff, as I said before, we just in a very confusing space with some of this. So sometimes even things that don't even matter, it get a bright light shine on it just because of where we're at. It's nothing wrong with a man knowing that skill. Nothing wrong with a man knowing how to wash clothes or do something. Nothing wrong with a man learning how to be handy around his own home. It's nothing wrong with a man being with his family, understand, because cooking and doing certain things, sometimes that's a segue for a man to really have and spend time with his wife or spend time with his family. So why the hell wouldn't I want to know how to do that? I mean, when you saw the clip, how did you feel about it?
I thought it was the cutest little thing. I think actually before it was even brought up to us to talk about it on the podcast, I think I had probably shared that as like some wholesome content because he's so adorable. And to me, that's the cutest. And I also think I can have maybe not an unpopular opinion, depending on where you are listening to this from, but I struggle sometimes with a lot of the Southern view on a lot of things because it can be more traditional, more straight and narrow.
And it can.
Like for me,
yeah.
If my child wants a kitchen set, I'm buying him a cooking set. If we go to Disney and he wants a fairy wand, he's getting a fairy wand because that's what he wants. And I'm not going to be the parent that limits my child to explore whatever it is, because at the end of the day, your child is going to be whomever they choose
to be. And I'm telling you, man.
And a toy,
a book, that's not going to change
drag
some of that.
show is not going to make your kid gay or straight. That is not what's going to happen. They don't make a conscious decision one day to be like, oh, I think I like boys. No, that's something that they naturally find and they develop what is their true self. And as a parent, and again, we don't have kids, so I'm just gonna say this is what I hope to portray.
And like I'm saying, and just so y'all understand, we are never gonna get on here. No. I don't even know what that feels like or what it entails.
For sure.
But
But my hope as a parent is that my child will always know that I love them fully
and support them.
No matter what they choose to do, no matter what walk of life, who they choose to date, whom they choose to be attracted to, what they do for a career. It's all encompassing. Like, I took part in creating this life, and I will do whatever I have to do to make sure they feel supported to grow into whomever it is that they want to be.
And and also as a parent, will we, because this happens all the time, right? Do we try to line some things or push people towards certain things? Of course.
sure.
Do we want our kids to be well-rounded, good-hearted people, doing the right things, making sound decisions, doing the things they need to do? Of course. That's what we want. I think as parents, that's what most parents want, right? But as I always say, you can do all the protecting, you can do all the coddling, you can do all that, but at some point in time, life hits.
Right.
Life is gonna hit you. So either your child gonna be adapted to deal with it, or they're not gonna be adapted to deal with it. But you trying to protect or hide them from everything just is not realistic. And you see it all the time. And then you get to college, or they get to certain spaces and sectors, and you hear about it all the time. We went to school, we seen it. Kids going crazy or butt wild because they was protected every single day, or they don't know how to deal with anything that happens. So emotions out of whack, people taking advantage of them. Next thing they ready to crawl up to a baller because everything was handed to them, or everything was so protected that when life actually started hitting, we couldn't handle it.
Right. And it's not comfortable. You know,
Not at all.
We both have friends that are parents and have children at multiple different age levels. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying like, oh, this is what I hope for. It's going to be an easy ride, right? Because I think when you have a child from a very young age, you already envision a life for them. What you dream of what that's going to look like. You picture their goals. And they don't even know them yet. You know, like you develop this blue sky dream of what your children are going to look like, what your life will look like as a family, all these different things. And if your kid doesn't make the decision that you thought they were going to, I can only imagine how upsetting and challenging that will be. But are you still going to love your child the same way? You know, like...
And like I said, I think for any parent, that's a struggle, right? No matter what happens, you're going to love and support your child. Just make sure that you understand that. Okay, and just make sure also too, and I tell people this all the time, we have very little control. We love to think we can control every single thing, and most things we cannot.
Yeah.
So you are not going to be able to control everything. Okay, but you do have to learn how to adapt. You do have to learn how to love people, and you have to learn how to love people in whatever season they are in, and whatever season you may be in. So it's very important to not only shape and mold your children, right? But it's also important to let them experience, to let them understand what life holds,
right.
what they're going to obviously see, what they're going to experience. And I much more value them to be able to experience and talk to me about it and us talk through it than me try to put this veil over their head like nothing happens out here, and then they have to be thrown out there to deal with all these emotions and different things themselves, and I didn't prepare them for any of that. So a lot of people got mad about that clip. But also, this is what I say, more fathers being in the home than your son experiences different things. Maybe your son is able to do different things, right? So what I'm saying is, as children, we're gonna do what we see.
Right.
So if I'm around my mother all the time and that's what my mom and they're doing, okay, mom, let me get a kitchen set. All right, cool. So this is what I'm saying is, we don't know the constructs of some people's house sometimes. I think we get mad about things that we see, but we never see what led to why we see it.
Right.
Okay, so if I'm growing up and it's just me and my mom and that's all I see all the time, okay, that's what I want to do.
But
that's
do you
what
think
I want to see.
Femininity?
I don't think it breeds it, but at the end of the day, I think we have to understand that there are more and more single mothers. Okay,
sure.
and not every single mom understands how to do two things at once. And what do I mean by that? Because that's no offense. Shout out to my single mothers.
Who's that sugar daddy?
Had a strong black, beautiful single mother that raised me and did it to the best of her abilities. And like I say, I always tell people, man, I had the best of both worlds, right? But not every woman is built to do that. So a lot of what you get sometimes is you get all the way to the other end. Okay, so then the son may have a lot of those enduring qualities, but maybe some of the toughness and other things that you want to, you miss. And you have to learn. And life has to teach you it. Or sometimes you never do. You know what I mean? So this again, one of those tough conversations that men and women we have, and once again, it'd be easier if we actually could sit down and have realistic conversation that people weren't always trying to pick fights about. But that is a big issue going on now, right? When you growing up in single parent households, either way it goes, you miss something sometimes.
Right.
So you miss certain things, and it's not. And it's
household, and
sometimes you miss. So it's not.
But I think too, sometimes those arguments come in because, again, I'm not a single mother, but I could only assume that if someone was to step to one of my friends who is a single mother and who has done everything that she felt was right for her child, especially a son, because that's the topic we're on, and she's done everything she feels she could do in her power to set her up for success, and then someone comes in and says, well, if he had a dad in the household or a man in the household, he would have had it easier. And nobody wakes up one day and they're like, you know what? I think I want to be a single mom.
Yeah.
Or nobody lays in bed and is like, let's make a kid. I really want to be a single mom or a single dad. Like, no, you make, even if you weren't planning to make a child, like I think when someone is pregnant, the hope is that things will sort themselves out and we can have a family.
Yeah, of course.
Even if it's a toxic, horrible situation.
And that's why you see even in the worst case scenarios, attempts be made still. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So people make attempts.
But I can understand why it's a tough subject
to have and a
conversation to have, because when you are the parent and you feel like you've been dealt a shitty hand of cards.
And let me say that both ways, right?
No, for sure.
So we don't want to. Because like I said, I don't want my dads out there. No, that's both ways. Like, because like I said, sometimes I do feel like as fathers, when relationships end, we get terrible, unfair raps. Because once again, like I say, we don't know everything that some of this stuff encompasses.
For sure.
Okay, because sometimes it is situations where dads want to be there and it's a lot of salt in wounds. And people just not really trying to make some of those connections work, and they fighting tooth and nail not to ever have it work.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's and that's why I said I'm happy we got to discuss it, because it's such a wide ranging deal. But if I end it on any note, it's just, man, look, it's nothing wrong with teaching young boys life skills that they're gonna need, and there's nothing wrong with setting young men up in the future to be able to take care of themselves and have certain skills that are going to be important for them in trying to build and have families and do certain things. Because I think sometimes that's what we miss, right? And we have a lot of younger men growing up that don't do a lot of things for themselves.
Correct.
Right? And then once they become grown men, they expect this from women that don't necessarily even want to be doing all that.
And I think for me, I would love to see us stop sexualizing different things or items or, verbiage when we talk about children. Like, why can't it just be an innocent child playing with a toy? Why does it have to be about sexuality, about masculinity, about these things?
Because at some point, some of these kids too young to even be making some of these,
that kid was not old enough to know.
That man during there was 4 or 5 years old, and
he literally had music playing, living his best. Like, who knows if in his imagination, he was even cooking.
Yeah,
he
like,
could have been saving the world. Like none of us know that.
Yeah.
But we as a society want to sexualize everything. Everything. And I think that word sexualize is probably going to trigger some people, but that's literally what we're doing. Like, why can't it just be a toy? Why can't kids just be able to explore and imagine and, you know, just enjoy being a child? Definitely. Let these kids be kids. And not only the young kids, but middle school kids. These kids are fast. Yeah. And they know things that we didn't ever know. At all. Sometimes I still don't know what these kids are talking about. Okay? But why can't we encourage our children to just
be who they are
and have an imagination?
Be who they are.
They don't need to live in a reality. Let your kid think Santa Claus is real or the Easter Bunny. Like you know what? It's okay for them to have an imaginary world where things are good. Why do adults have to ruin that?
Yeah, say this. So definitely, like that was definitely a deep topic right there. So I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad we was able to talk through it. So our last topic before we close out episode 222. Before we close out episode 222. Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Before we close out episode 2, last topic was a fan question that got through to us, and it's around participation trophies. Definitely a topic that I just want to dive into, because I think we have going into the world where things are watered down, right? Mm-hmm. And just so y'all kind of understand what I mean, you know, here go a clip for y'all.
I'm just being honest. I'm saying what y'all thinking, and a lot of y'all Hall of Famers are thinking the same thing. This thing is becoming a free for all now, man. If you play good, no, it ain't good. It's people that change the game. Yeah. That's what the Hall of Fame is. A game changer. A game changer. Not, I played good. I had a good little run. I gave you 3-4 good years. No, dog. Game changers.
So basically, like, when we talking about participation trophies, I think, first and foremost, I just want to say, I get it. From a parent standpoint, if my child participate in something, I want my child to receive a trophy for doing the said thing.
You do?
I don't. But I understand as a parent where people want that, right? Because we just live that me neither. But we do live in a day and age where people feel like they should get something for nothing.
I agree.
So at the end of the day, it's just become, because it's been it's quite the topic, and a lot of people and a lot of people that want to discuss it, because I feel like it's even started to trickle over into major sports. It's trickling into high school sport, everything, right? Everything is kind of being made easier than it used to be for people, or set people up to win. Or they try to move things around so people can win easier. Or they try to move things around so people complain because, hey man, I can't win in this current situation. So what we've done is we've just kind of watered down what it means to actually compete, what it means to grind, what it means to put in time work, what it means to be consistent, what it means to actually get out here day in, day out to try to figure it out in order to be a champion. Correct. Because a champion is the ultimate goal
for anybody,
right? When you in athletics,
right,
of course, as a coach, next to that is being the best person you possibly can be. But we still participating in this to win. We not in here lifting all these weights to lose. We not in here running all them wind sprints to lose. We ain't out here practicing for 2 or 3 hours to get out there and get our head beat in. That's not why we doing that.
Right.
So at the end of the day,
well, and I think it also diminishes the hard work that those who came before us and paved the way. And we're talking about sports, but even if we're not talking about sports, let's talk about profession. Let's talk about, like, in any way, shape, or form, there were people that worked their asses off to allow the opportunity for us to follow in their footsteps. To do that. And by giving everyone a participation trophy or a banner or a ribbon, you're literally just saying you can do the bare minimum and we're going to recognize that. We're going to allow you to feel accomplished because you did something. And something is better than nothing. But what are you teaching your child? You're teaching, well, anybody at that point in time, we won't even have to talk about children, but you're teaching other people that they do not need to work hard to achieve anything in life. That if you just do something, someone is going to recognize
somebody gonna recognize what you're doing and
give you an opportunity. And that's not fair, because in order to be successful, sometimes you have to grind through,
work hard,
and that applies to anything.
And if you
you have to be able to do it and not be recognized.
That's what I'm saying.
Because that's what truly molds you to be a good leader, to be successful, to be just driven.
And just coming close should push you though. Like I would rather come close and then know that next year I gotta grind to get there. Rather than how we done did even high school track or high school wrestling where you can get up to 8th place and get a medal. Now come on now. 8th place? I can understand. That's why people I understand top 5. I ain't no proponent of top 5.
I struggle with
right? I understand top 5. But at the end of the day, I do understand that, but 8th? Like 8th or we go out there and part one and everybody get a trophy. No, well, at the end of what? Are we having a end of the year banquet and we went 0-11? What?
Right.
So
and at that point, what then motivates you to achieve those
things?
So
man.
like, here's a great example.
If I know I jump in and get a medal at 8th, hell, I might try to come back next year and be 8th.
And so here's a good example. My very first CrossFit competition, it was a partner workout, and we came in 6th place. And my partner was like, "We're in the top 10. This is so great." And I was not happy. Because to me, growing up, like, nobody cares that you came in 6th place.
That's it.
Who even asks you what 6th place is?
Man, we climbing.
Nobody cares. And I'm super competitive. So
I get it.
So I yes, 6th place in a CrossFit competition, depending on what, for anybody, you work your ass off to get there. So you earn that spot and you should be proud. But there's a difference between being proud and settling for something when there's more opportunities.
There's more there.
And that's my problem with participation trophies, ribbons, and that goes for anything, in school, in sports, in your job, all of this stuff that you are just encouraging mediocrity. You are not encouraging anybody to grow and develop and be successful, because you're fostering these lazy habits that you could just do anything and be recognized.
Creating a championship culture so important. That's why everything that I strive to do, that's what I'm trying to create, because people need to understand how to win, but most importantly, they need to understand what it takes to win. Right? You have to learn how to be competitive. So this ain't just about athletics, right? It encompasses every space in their life. So if they learn how to win here, I know that they're gonna understand how to put the work in and win in other facets of their life. So to me, it's about creating a championship culture and creating a winning culture, right? So being a part of 2 programs that have been allowed to elevate and get to that level, I see it every day. So what happens is now people know that they have to work hard for spots. Like even this year, this is my girls team, probably gonna be one of the best I ever had. It's some weight classes I'm about to have in there this year where they would probably be, some of them girl would be the best girl lifter on another team, but may not even lift in their own weight room, or may not even make it to stay because of people in their own weight room in the way. Okay, so what happens is you learn then, I gotta work hard, when you gotta battle for spots within your own team. So it's about, you have to breed a championship culture, because it's gonna breed championship people. It's gonna breed people that work hard. It's gonna breed people that go the extra mile. It's gonna breed people that understand that, hey, I got to go out here and put it in. Ain't nobody gonna give this to me.
But do you think that in a championship culture, part of that lesson comes in the loss?
I think yes. Some things, because you got to learn how to lose too. You're not gonna win everything, right? And like I be trying to tell people, man, life is like this. Like, life is never what we try to make it. So you're going to fail. You're going to feel disappointed. You're going to have to learn how to lose, because that's just how in life, you're going to probably experience more failure than you ever do wins.
Sure.
But
you pick
if
yourself up after.
you have that championship mindset and culture, you are going to find a way to try to reach that top spot. You're going to put the work in, even if you fall short. You're going to try to reach that top spot. But if you're not built to that and you don't understand that, you settle. You settle for okay. You say things like, hey man, we ain't never going to be good. I ain't never going to get to that level. I can't never reach that person. I can't never do this. So it's so much. And you see it just all the time, right? And that's why I tell people, man, yes, you learn from losing, but man, you don't want to be around it too long. Because if you're around it too long, it starts to encompass everything you do. You start to have a losing mentality. And a losing mentality not only going to hurt you in athletics, but going to hurt you in your life. So you need to learn. So that's why I said I never have problems with people trying to set their kids up in better situations, or trying to get their kids around better coaching, or trying to get their kids in a situation where they'll do well. I never get mad at kids for looking over, and I get it. A lot of coaches gonna get mad, right? They'll be like, well, hey, kid need to hang it out and hang tough with me. For what? Okay, I understand. I do coach, but at the end of the day, it's important to be in a winning culture. That's why you got to develop one, so kids want to come and they want to stay. So sometimes as coaches, we get upset about that, right? Oh, they transferred. Oh, they went here. Why did they do that? Because they want to be a part of a winning culture. And we call it, and like I said, we want to come up with this dumb term, oh, he running from the grind. What I'm going to run from? I'm going to lose my ass off running from the grind? No, I'm about to run to an opportunity where I see I can get better coaching and I got a better chance to win and I got a better chance to display my talents. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. So, like I said,
And you're just around more talented
that's what I'm
people.
saying. And if you,
so it forces you to level up.
So it's nothing wrong with that. So what I would tell most coaches is create it. Make that environment. Make it a place where them kids be like, hey man, ain't no way in heck I'm leaving here.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's our job. To create a winning environment that not only gonna make them better people, create a family environment where they want to stay. That be our job. Not running around here talking about why somebody won't stay. Figure it out. You know why. So at the end of the day, just talking about it, no. Not everybody should be guaranteed a participation trophy. Not everybody should get, because that's not how life works. Life is not this whole deal where you're guaranteed anything. At the end of the day, more times than not, you got to work for that. So if you got to work for that, you should have to work for it at every level, so these kids understand that, hey, I got to actually put some time in to be great. I got to actually put some time in to earn this. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Definitely want to give a shout out to everybody that logged in, checked out the pod. Everybody that just reposted, and we just hope y'all keep doing that, man. Everybody that reposted, everybody that listened, everybody that gave positive feedback. Even if you didn't, even if you want to get negative feedback, let us know. Let us know some things we can talk about better, some things we can do better. Like I said, honestly, guys, we know that this thing just gonna continue to grow and get better. And like I said, even with episode 222, just really thought it was some great conversation, and we hope that y'all tune in and get that good word, man. So
that's all she wrote.
That's all, man.
Good night.
Podcast number 2, we out. Good night, good
See you
people.
next
Good
week.
night, good night. I see you.
Okay, that's why I had you sitting there.
The camera ain't right.
Are you having a seizure?